Well, good afternoon, YouTube. This is Chuck, and it's Wednesday, May 3rd, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm over at the north parking lot of one of our parks. Kind of quiet over here right now. There's only one other guy here, and he's over there practicing for softball leagues. There's a ball field over there, and there's another ball field behind me. But this is the parking area here. Like I say, there's nobody here right now. It'll get pretty active later on when they have a game. But figured I'd try to bring you up to date on a little bit of stuff that's happening. And I'm going to title it Van Stuff because it primarily is van stuff. And but we got, it's going to be a busy next few days. And something's kind of interesting. And I haven't been off on a van boy trip in a while, and I'm going to try to incorporate all this into a van boy trip for a few days. And so let me tell you what's going to end up happening. Well, one of our squatching friends, a guy named Chris, and you met him, and if you watched my Crazy Town first day trip, got some cars coming in now. Apparently the softballers are starting to get here. But anyway, you had met Chris on my Crazy Town Day 1 trip video. And anyway, Chris is getting married Saturday. Well, to try to keep it in the family, and this might be a little thing that you probably didn't realize, and my squatching partner Kevin's actually an ordained minister. And Chris asked Kevin if he would perform the wedding. Well, Kevin doesn't have a church, he doesn't have a congregation, and he hadn't performed a wedding before, but he said, sure, there's always a first time for everything. So Kevin's going to officiate. Chris is getting married. I haven't met his fiance yet. He says she's a fine woman, and I'm sure she is, and I kind of wonder about her marrying a guy who goes and looks for Bigfoot, and if she'd have gone and talked to my wife first, my wife would have probably told her all about it and warned her. But that's between them. That's none of my affair. But anyway, boy, a lot of cars coming in right now. Anyway, the wedding's going to be held over in Prescott. They live over in Prescott area, and Prescott's about 100 miles from here. And so I could either drive over there and then drive back after the wedding. The wedding's going to be in the afternoon, and it'll probably be dark before the reception's over. And I don't like to drive in the dark, and I got to come over a mountain to get home. And the idea of driving that far after dark, I just didn't want to do that. So what I decided to do is I decided to take the van. And the venue where the wedding's going to be held at is actually, it's actually a little island in National Forest land. And it's a little ways out of town, and there's actually camping not too far up the road. So I decided that I'd kind of roll the whole thing into a van boy trip, and I'm going to go over there Saturday, and I'm going to go to the wedding, and after the wedding I'm going to drive up the road a little bit and find a flat spot and stay overnight. And then I got a few things that kind of link together while I'm over there. There's a couple people I want to visit with, and one of them is a guy who was a volunteer firefighter for me 40 plus years ago, and he was just a young man then, and he went on to go to work for Phoenix Fire Department, and he retired here not too long ago at the rank of apparatus engineer, and now he lives in Prescott. And he reached out to me through this channel, and we had a good time communicating back and forth. And so we're going to get together for coffee or something and try to catch up on some old times. And the other one I want to visit with is another YouTuber, and that's Happy Rivera from Happy's Trails. And I talked about his rig. He took an ambulance and converted to 4-wheel drive and made it into an overlanding rig, and put a lot of time, effort, and money, and blood, sweat, and tears, and everything else into it. And I haven't seen that yet, but I gave a shout out to him here a while back, and he got back to me, and so we've been texting back and forth. And he's over in that area, so we're going to get together and have lunch or something. We'll see. So anyway, that's a couple things. And then, driving that far with the price of gas what it is, I didn't want to waste a trip. So I thought I'd incorporate it in with drive a couple of back roads that I've always wanted to drive on. And one I've been on before and another one I haven't. So The first one is a road that goes from Prescott. It's paved part way, but most of it's dirt. And it's a back road, goes up by Granite Mountain and comes all the way out by Seligman, up on old Route 66. And I've never driven that road, and I want to drive it. And I don't know, maybe Happy will go along and we'll tag along. He told me he has property up in Seligman, and we can overnight there on his property, and that'd be kind of cool. And while I'm talking about Seligman, there's a place in Seligman, you know, a lot of that old Route 66 stuff is, that's a big deal there, and I kind of like that. I get a kick out of that. And one of the must stops, if you ever go there, you got to stop in Seligman, and you got to go to the Snowcap Drive-In. Well, the Snowcap Drive-In is a little independent place, and it's owned by the Delgadillo family. And the Delgadillo brothers, Angel, and I believe his brother's name is Frank, they're the ones that had the whole idea of making Route 66 into a historic highway and publicizing it and getting the whole Route 66 thing going and getting people to drive there from all over the world. And they run a gift shop, and then across the street from that, they run the Snowcap Drive-In, and got good hamburgers and ice cream, and it's a crazy place, and the people are a lot of fun, and they give you a hard time, and they'll mess up your order deliberately, and they'll business cards from people from all over the world are there, and tour buses full of foreign people stop there, and so you'll hear a tour bus full of French people come in there and marvel at the place and snap 1,000 pictures, and it's just a fun stop, and it's a must-see if you're up there in the Seligman area on old Route 66. But just don't stop there on Sunday because they're closed. Then depending on how all that works out, it'll depend on when I come back, but I'm planning on staying out for 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 days, just depends. Like I said, I haven't been van boying a long time. I'm really itching to get out and do that. But there's another road I want to drive on, and that comes from Williams, Arizona, and comes down through a little place called Perkinsville and across a historic bridge. There's a historic bridge on the other road too, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to drive it. And I want to stop and do a thing about the history on that bridge because I'm familiar with it. But Perkinsville has another historic bridge, and I've been through there, but it's been a long, long, long time ago. And so that road comes all the way down and comes out in Jerome, Arizona, in the Verde Valley. And so I'm thinking about coming back that way, and we'll see if I got time to do that. I need to be back in town on Tuesday morning for a meeting, but I could probably miss that if I had to. And then Wednesday, everything will be over with, and Kevin and I are going to go up to the Heber Overguard area, about halfway between Payson and Show Low. And we've got a guy from Show Low that's interested in the Bigfoot subject, and he reached out to Kevin through Kevin's YouTube channel, and I've had contact with him before because he turned in a BFRO report, and I was the investigator. But he had an incident happen to him that was kind of shook him to his core, and he's interested in learning more about the subject, and so we're going to drive up there and meet him halfway and probably have lunch with him up there and somewhere in the Heber Overguard area. And so that's kind of what is going to be going on for us for the next week. And then, I almost forgot. I got a surgery date. It's going to be toward the end of the month, and by the Memorial Day weekend, it'll be over and done with. But I'm going to be out of service for a little while. It's going to kind of put a hitch in the giddy up for me for, I don't know, probably 6 weeks or so. Obviously, I've never been through this before, so it'll be a first time. So we'll see how that goes. It is what it is, and we'll have to deal with it. But the Memorial Day weekend is kind of the unofficial start of summer season here, and the big 3 weekends, and Memorial Day and 4th of July and Labor Day, they're just crazy up here. We're the closest high mountain camping area to the Phoenix metro area, and there are 4 million people, and so it'll be a solid line of people coming up here and camping, and we call them flatlanders, and sometimes when they don't do good things, we call them cityots. But we like to joke that on those busy weekends, there's a flatlander behind every tree, and they come up here and camp, and some of them aren't very skilled campers, and some of them leave a mess, and some of them leave their campfires burning, and it's always a big deal, and there's dust everywhere. And so those of us who live up here, we're smart enough that on the big weekends, we hibernate, we stay home, let them all get done. When they go back down the mountain, back to the big city to work their 9 to 5 again, then that's when we go out and play. So Anyway, I don't want this to run too awful long. It's a pretty day today, but it was windy. This is the 4th take on this one. I managed to mess it up, and I managed to forget some stuff. I think I got it this time. So we'll see how that goes. I'll take it home and upload it. I brought Flapjack over here to walk him a little bit and figured I'd try to shoot this. And as I said, it's windy enough that I don't think I could have shot it outside without a bunch of wind noise. So that's why I'm sitting here. So like I always tell you, I'm going to bring it up here and pan it around. Just in the few minutes that we've been here, this parking lot started to fill up with the softball people. As you can see, the lights, this is a dual. This is a softball field and it's also a soccer field. And so they have lighted games at night. And there's another field off here. I don't know, you can't really see it back in here, but it's back over here behind me. But anyway, it's a nice day. You can see the pine trees blowing around over there. And like I always tell you, be good to each other, be kind. Take care of yourself. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, there's only one person in the whole planet that can decide whether you're going to have a good day or not, and that's you. So it's your decision. You can either have a good day or a bad day. I prefer to wake up and have good days. So everybody have a good, blessed day, and we'll talk to you again real soon. So right now, I'm just going to tell you peace out.